Hello, I'm Kent, the Cali State Job Coach. I'm coming at you with the next video in this series helping folks who are interested in obtaining and promoting in jobs with the state of California. So this series contains 8 or 9, I'm envisioning 8 or 9 different videos. This is the 5th video in that series. It's on search strategies. But before I get into the details of search strategies, I just want to make a couple acknowledgments. First, I want to acknowledge all the folks who are already state employees. Some work in recruiting, others don't, but they're analysts and supervisors or managers who've already viewed these videos and the series and acknowledge them. I appreciate your engagement and support. I also want to acknowledge those folks who are not employed with the state currently, but who've also similarly viewed the videos and are engaged. Hopefully it's just the beginning of that engagement. Hopefully we get some comments, questions, concerns on the videos and we start that interaction. And secondly, I'd also like to acknowledge the folks who've made the effort to go to the YouTube channel area where you subscribe to these videos. The subscriptions help increase the functionality within YouTube. For example, when you get enough subscribers to a channel, YouTube offers the ability to do live streaming, and live streaming would be, especially I'm envisioning, very useful to do Q&A sessions, question and answer sessions. So hopefully some more people will continue to subscribe and we'll build that subscriber base so we can do some more of those things which I think will be useful to folks. But now to the good stuff, which is the search strategy. The last video in this series was on search tactics, and if you go to the link below for the channel, you can see the layout of the videos and the progression of them, and if you need to catch up. But for those who want to just watch this video while you're here, I invite you to do so. I'm hoping it'll still make some sense and you can still ask questions and get some answers, but you can always go back later and review those videos that you haven't already seen, or you can pop out and go review those videos and do them in a process-oriented way that I typically find works for me, but that's just the way that I learn. So that, like I said, the last video was on search tactics. It was about the nuts and bolts of doing searches. After having created a CalCareers account, showed you how to go in and do searches whether you were logged into your CalCareers account or not. But I also emphasized the advantages of having a CalCareers account so you could do stuff like save the searches and save specific jobs, etc. The strategies that we're going to talk about kind of layer on top of or go hand in hand with those tactics. Knowing the tactics is kind of like shooting a gun. The strategies is kind of like having the target that you're shooting at. Without the target, shooting doesn't make much sense and is not very valuable. So we'll talk about some general strategies. The strategies are specific, each person, because of their own circumstances. Some strategies are going to be relevant, some won't. I'm not going to talk about every single strategy. There are others. I'm going to talk about the ones that I've used, but feel free, especially folks within the state, go ahead and add in the comments below some strategies that you think might be useful that maybe I missed that could benefit people, and let's get that added into the discussion. So anyway, some of the general strategies, like I said, and these are in no particular order. They're going to make some people and not others, like I said. But the first strategy that I think people should consider, it's one I considered. Like I said, I used all these. I call it the get your foot in the door strategy. So in searching for jobs, I looked at multiple classifications, a specific classification, if you will. I've talked about it in the previous video. A very broad classification is Associate Governmental Program Analyst. The acronym is AGPA. There are thousands and thousands of these jobs within the state already filled because there are positions that apply to these jobs and vacancies. And so it does require a college degree. Lots of folks do have college degrees. Not all the jobs require college degrees, and at some future um, video I'll get to some of those jobs, like office technician and office assistant. It's just some general things that a high school degree, maybe somebody with a associate's degree could absolutely fill and get your foot in the door. But for this scenario, I'm going to talk about an AGPA position. I felt like I was fully qualified when I read the requirements for the classification. No matter what the specific job title was, on the last video I talked about a classification could have lots of different working job titles like contracts analyst, training analyst, project manager, etc., etc. But when you go read the classification and the requirements, like I did for AGPA, I felt like I fully qualified for AGPA, period, just in a broad sense. And then based on the specific requirements for each job, which you learn about when you find jobs in areas you want with the classifications you want, etc., etc. You drill down into the job, it tells you more about what the requirements are, minimum requirements, desired requirements, etc. So I felt like it would be easier to get in, and experience has borne this out, at maybe a lower level, one that I was maybe overqualified for, and that's okay. The state hires people who are overqualified for positions all the time. I did when I was a hiring manager. The state is lucky and gets a lot of applications for each position, and is really in a position where they can hire people who are overqualified, which contrasted with hiring people who are underqualified is a good thing. And of course, when you hire people who are overqualified, you probably need to be thinking about promotional or developmental opportunities and how to get them into positions that they might more adequately fill. But anyway, so I started searching for AGPA jobs, and I also searched for SSA jobs, which is the next lower classification in that broad analyst classification, if you will. I did not apply for, I felt like my experience in education qualified me for Staff Services Manager 1, broadly, for a lot of jobs, no matter what the specifics were, and then even maybe for some SSM2 jobs. I'm not bragging, I'm just stating the fact, but I knew that those jobs were, well, they were rarer, there were less openings, and then I also got some good counsel from my brother that a lot of those jobs go to people with a lot of state experience and also probably experience even at the agency that those openings were at. So I didn't have any of that, so I lowered my target, if you will, and applied for AGPA and SSA jobs, of which there are a lot. And apparently it worked, because I got hired after 2 months, 2.5 months. Also, my brother also recommended it. I recommended it, I kind of talked about it on the last video, the tactics, search tactics video. You probably should start with searching for agencies or departments, we call them, that have a lot of openings, that have a lot of staff currently employed, and that also proportionately have a lot of staff vacancies that they're trying to hire for. I went out and searched on a resource that I'm going to include a link for this morning. It's called the Governmental Compensation in California website. I'll give you the URL, publicpay.ca.gov, etc. But it's a good resource. The most current information was 2020. Maybe 2021 will come up in January or February or something like that, but it's pretty darn current. And it showed that the state has 152 departments, 260,000 employees, and you were able to sort, well, no, it actually even just showed how many employees apply to their department that they're employed with. So, like I said in the tactics video, CDCR is a big agency, and you probably should consider getting a job with them. I would. I think it's a smart strategy. It worked for me. I think I said in one or more of these videos, the first agency I was hired for or by was CDCR, and they have 66,000. These are rough numbers, but pretty good proportionately. They have 66,000 employees, right? Out of the 260, they have 66,000. That's a very large percentage of the state employees. Caltrans was the second biggest one with 22,000. And then EDD, not to leave out a lot of the smaller ones, they're all listed too. Some of these agencies only have 1, 2, 3, 4 people. So it's probably not going to be very many openings, and probably not a good strategy to target them. But third and fourth place behind CDCR and Caltrans was EDD and the state hospitals, both with 12,000. And I know people who've been hired and are currently working with all these agencies. Jobs are prevalent, vacancies are prevalent. So if I was you or somebody looking to get a state job or even a promotion, I would look at those 4 agencies and maybe some others depending on the specifics of the job, etc. But I wouldn't leave those out under almost any circumstances. So I talked about the foot in the door strategy, targeting the larger agents as a strategy. I would also consider, and I briefly discussed it on the foot in the door, considering 2 or 3 different classifications. So like I said, I considered AGPA, and I learned through the application process a lot of the AGPA jobs say that they'll consider staff services analysts, SSAs is the acronym. Usually probably people with experience as an SSA, it's a developmental or promotional opportunity to an AGPA job. Or they'll just hire them as a SSA if they have moderate experience. But they leave the door open for the hiring agency to hire them as an SSA or an AGPA that way. But it's not, it's a way to get your foot in the door by looking at more classifications. So the last video showed how to search on the jobs. I searched by AGPA is my example in the video. If you go in and search, and there was, I don't know, I can't even remember, there was like 2,800 AGPA jobs throughout the state, and that's a lot of jobs. Or whether it was 2,800, yeah, 2,800, something like that. If you search on SSA or Staff Services Analyst, it'd probably be the best way to search on it. There's also a large number of jobs, so you're just opening up, a broader range of possibilities to get hired on and to get your foot in the door if you consider some more classifications. And then the last one I'll talk about is broaden the geography if able. So my personal example is, after I had worked for CDCR for about a year, I started looking for another position, and I found the position, my current position, with the Department of General Services, the position I spent my last 5 years in, that is, simply by opening up the geography. Remember, it was by, if you looked at the tactics search video, I searched on Sacramento County, and then I also searched on Yolo County, which is an adjacent county. It's literally in Sacramento, right across the Capitol Bridge. And lo and behold, when I did that, I found that there were some jobs available in the Department of General Services, right across this little bridge, a mile or 2 or something like that away from the location where I was working for corrections and rehabilitation. So that's the fourth strategy I'm going to talk about. Broaden the geography, add 2 or 3 or 4 counties to your geography that you're searching under to give you a bigger funnel to look at. And it might be, it increases the number of jobs you're looking at from 10 to 40 or something like that. So we talked about getting the foot in the door strategy, targeting the larger agencies, considering more classifications. I would probably limit it to 2 or 3. I wouldn't look for too many. You decide. And then broadening the geography, adding some more counties. So those are all good strategies. Folks who've done this or are currently doing this, if you have some other strategies that you think are viable and applicable, please go ahead and let's start discussing them down in the comments. That'd be great. Like I said, I'm going to add the resources, the link to that government compensation in California website for those numbers. You can trust me, they're right as of October the 1st of 2021 today. A pretty good analyst and researcher. But those will change. So as this video ages, you may want to go back to that. If the site is updated, and like I said, maybe the 2021 figures will be available in February or March of 2022. So please comment below, though, if you think that you have some other strategies that should be considered, especially if you have experience with them and how that fleshed out for you. Please also add to the comments below if you have questions or concerns, and I'll respond, and maybe some other folks might respond too, and get a broader conversation going on that. The next video is going to be on, and I'm starting to get excited now because this series, like I said, it's going to be 8, 9, 10 different videos. Pretty much it's the same 8 or 9, 10 you have to consider each time you go through this process, and then it's kind of like Groundhog Day, but hopefully you're excited about trying to get a job. You see the specific jobs that are available and they sound exciting to you and fit your experience and education. So you're willing to do that process, multiple times. I think I mentioned in another video, I applied to 40 different jobs. Somewhere in there, around 30 or 35, I started getting interviews. I interviewed 4 or 5 times. I got a couple of 3 offers. Things start happening as you're doing this. But that next video is on submitting your application, and you don't have to wait until we're done with the 8 or 9 or 10 videos, the remaining 3, 4, or 5, to actually start submitting applications. If you read the requirements, you think you qualify for the position, the classification, you read on there how to do the T&E exam, which we're going to be talking about in another video. A lot of it is self-explanatory, and a lot of folks can make their way through it. I hope some folks are excited enough to just get started doing that. And then you can ask questions in any of these videos that we've already done about a video topic that's in the future that we haven't done yet, but you're already started and you got excited, and maybe you get stuck or you have some questions before you execute one of those steps. Please ask questions about that too. Okay, so if this video seems like it's been useful to you or to somebody you know who might be in this position of trying to get a job at the state or trying to get promoted with the state, they're already an employee, please share it. Right? This video is meant to be shared so people can make use of it and get their job that they're looking for. Also, don't forget to click like on the video. Subscribe. You can go to the channel. Next to the subscribe button is a little bell where you click the bell to get notified of the next videos that are coming out. I'm averaging about 1 a week, trying to make sure that they're accurate and that I cover everything. And I am retired, so I do other stuff too. My goal is not to get these out fast and have inaccuracies in them. So about once a week they're coming out, 8 or 9, 10 videos for the whole process, 2.5 months to cover everything. Those videos should be good for and useful for a while. So you want to get notified so that you can watch the next videos or share these with people who do want to get notified. They know how to do it now. Click the bell. I'll wrap up with thanking everybody who's watched these videos, especially those who've engaged, liked the videos, or subscribed, made comments. The goal is to get a conversation going, hear about different aspects. I certainly don't have all the answers, and the couple of times that I applied for jobs and got hired don't encompass all the different variables or scenarios that might occur. So please add in with your own real experiences. But I thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for sharing the videos. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you soon.